Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to learn how to make the third piece of the granny stitch crease set. So if you haven't yet checked out the two videos of the shorts and the cropped sleeves, I already have tutorials for each and every one of them, and I also have patterns for them on all my online shops. So today we're going to learn how to make this beautiful and very simple approach granny stitch top to put into the inside of our cropped sleeves. I noticed that the cropped sleeves were really revealing for those who aren't willing to wear a bikini top or a bra inside it. So I had to come up with something that still doesn't give so much coverage to the side, but in top form. So that's what we're going to do right now. So for the materials, you will need yarn. The yarn that I'm using is the same exact yarn that I used for the other two projects, and it's Merino double knit yarn. And then you will also need this. You will need about just half a ball to complete the whole project, and each ball of this is 328 yards, so half of that. And then you'll need a measuring tape. I have a notebook here just to take a few calculations before we begin. You'll also need a pair of scissors and a darning needle to weave in your ends. And then the hook that I'll be using is the same exact hook that I used for the two previous videos, which is a 5mm crochet hook, because I wanted the stitches to look almost exactly the same. So you're going to grab your hook and your yarn, and also your pen and paper. So we're going to first take our full bust measurement. So measure around the widest part of your bust, and I'll be considering 34 inches. And then we are going to subtract 4 inches from this measurement that we've got, and that will give me 30 inches. So the 34 inches, which is the full bust measurement, will be measurement A. Then minus the 4 inches, this will be measurement B, the 30 inches. And then you're going to divide that number by 2, which will be measurement C, which is the 15 inches, because 30 divided by 2 is 15. So we are going to consider these 3 measurements as we work our top. So let's get started. Just have this in mind, and we shall use these figures as we go along. You're going to grab your yarn and you're going to make a magic ring. For a magic ring, you're going to hold your yarn like this, twist it over your 2 fingers, and then grab the working yarn, this one, and then hold. So after holding here, you're going to make a chain of 1 and just fasten it off. This doesn't count as anything. So you're going to start off with a chain of 3, which counts as our very first double crochet. And then you're going to go into the same magic ring with 2 more double crochets. So this is the first one, and the double crochet is yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop. You'll have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. So you will have a total of 3 double crochets, including the chain 3 at the beginning that counted as our very first double crochet. So after this, you're going to make a chain of 2, go into the magic ring with 3 more double crochets. Okay, make a chain of 2, 3 double crochets into the same magic ring. Okay, after this, you're going to make a chain of 2, and then you are going to make your last group of 3 double crochets into the magic ring. All right, so right now we have a total of 4 groups of 3 double crochets. So we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. So from here, you're going to get the tail of the magic ring and close it off. So pull on it so that it closes that circle that was in the middle. We shall come back to it and weave it in and secure it later on. So after this, you should be having a total of 1, 2, and 3 chain 2 spaces for row 1. Let's go on to row 2. You're going to make a chain of 4, which counts as a double crochet chain 1. Turn your work, and into the chain 2 space, you're going to place 3 double crochets. chain 2 and 3 more double crochets. All right, after this you're going to make a chain of 1, and then into the chain 2 space you're going to place 3 double crochets, chain 2 and 3 more double crochets into the same exact chain 2 space, just like that. And then you're going to make a chain of 1. Into the chain 2 space you're going to place 3 double crochets, chain 2 and 3 more double crochets, and after this you're going to make a chain of 1 and then go on top of the very first chain 3 of the row, and you're going to place a double crochet on top of that chain 3. So this should balance exactly what we have on this side onto this side. As you can see, this is the top part of the panel and this is the bottom part of the panel. So let's go ahead. You're going to make a chain of 3, which counts as our very first double crochet. Turn your work, 2 more double crochets into the chain 1 space to make a total of 3 double crochets, since the chain 3 counts as a double crochet. So after this you're going to make a chain of 1. Into the chain 2 space you're going to place 3 double crochets, chain 2 and 3 more double crochets into the same space. So this is going to create our corners basically. So after this, chain 1, this is a chain 1 space, and each chain 1 space gets 3 double crochets. After this you're going to make a chain of 1, and then each chain 2 space gets a shell. A shell is 3 double crochets, chain 2 and 3 more double crochets into the same exact space. So for this tutorial, a shell is 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets, and a shell is only placed in the chain 2 spaces, unless stated otherwise, because this will change when it comes to the ruffle bit at the base of the shorts. So chain 1, this is a chain 1 space, so it will get 3 double crochets. Chain 1, this is a chain 2 space, so it will get a shell. All right, so after this you're going to make a chain of 1, and into the chain 4 space, which is here, you're going to place 3 double crochets, 1, 2 and 3. So that should balance what we have at the beginning of the row here. Remember, we started with 3 double crochets, which is the 2 double crochets and the chain 3 that counted as a double crochet. So we have the 3 double crochets at the end of the row. So make sure your work is balanced at all times. So let's go on to row 4. You're going to start off with a chain of 4, turn your work, and into the first chain 1 space you're going to place 3 double crochets, chain 1, into the chain 2 space place a shell, all right, chain 1, into each chain 1 space you only place 3 double crochets. So you can see here, this is a chain 1 space, so it will get 3 double crochets, and then you're going to make a chain of 1. This is a chain 1 space, so it will also get 3 double crochets, and then chain 1. This is a chain 2 space, and it will get a shell. At this point you should notice that the shells are placed on the corners of the panel, and you should be having a total of 3 corners for your panel. excluding the edge corners, because we are not counting this as a corner because we don't place shells there. But we have this corner, we have this corner, and this corner where we place shells. So go all the way across, chain 1, 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space, chain 1, 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space, chain 1 into the chain 2 space, which is a corner. You're going to place a shell, 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets into the same space. So this is what you'll have. Chain 1 into the chain 1 space, you're going to place 3 double crochets, chain 1, and you're going to go on top of the last stitch of the previous row, which is the chain 3. On top of the chain 3, you're going to place a double crochet after your chain 1, of course. So this is what you'll have. So we're just going to repeat the 2 rows, rows 3 and 4. Row 3 starts with a chain of 3, and then you turn your work and you place 2 more double crochets into the very first chain 1 space to make a total of 3 double crochets. And then you just go ahead and work your row, placing 3 double crochets in each chain 1 space and a shell in each corner, and making sure that we separate each and everything with a chain 1. So after your 3 double crochets, chain 1, a shell into the next chain 2 space, which is supposed to be a corner, so this pattern is very, very easy. As long as you know how to make the granny stitch, this should be a walkover for you. And I think for the people who have already tried out the sleeves, this should be a piece of cake for you. So go all the way across, doing what's needed, making sure that you maintain the corners. As you can see what I'm doing here, this is a corner, so it will get 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets. So we have so many projects using the granny stitch, and you can check the link in the description box. I'll be leaving some projects for you to try out using this stitch, because we have over 30 projects using the same exact stitch but different designs. All right, so I'm coming to the end of this row, which is supposed to be row 5, and I've placed my last 3 double crochets into the last chain 4 space, and you can see we have the same thing happening at both ends of our panel. So you're going to continue to work until this measurement here is half of your bust measurement. So for me, I'm considering 17. You can see the length that I have is somewhere in between 17 and 18. So I'm considering a bust measurement of 34, and you should make sure you're not stretching your work at this point. Not stretched, it's at around 17, which is almost half my bust measurement. Now we're going to start doing something different. We're going to start elongating the sides of the top until we get a decent length here on only one side. We are stopping to work on this side and this side, so we are only working on the side of the panel. So just as usual, you're going to just make a chain of 3. So just to cross check, I did a total of 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 and 12 rows. So for the 13th row, I'm only going to work on one side, but the pattern just remains the same. So you place your 2 more double crochets in the chain 1 space, and then chain 1, 3 double crochets into the chain 1 space. So continue to do this until you get to the chain 1 space before the corner. Chain 1, 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space. Chain 1, 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space. Chain 1, 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space. Chain 1, 3 double crochets. So we are placing our 3 double crochets right before the very first corner. And now we are going to make a chain of 1, and you're going to place only 1 double crochet into the chain 2 space or the corner. And this is the end of row 13. Row 14, you're going to make a chain of 3, turn your work, and into the very first chain 1 space you're going to place 2 more double crochets, just like that, and then chain 1, 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space. So what we are doing here is to create the back coverage. This top is supposed to lace up at the back, so I'm going to show you what to consider when you're adding these rows in order to know how many rows to add for yourself, depending on the yarn that you use, the tension, the hook that you used, or the size of your stitches. Okay, so we've come to the end, and you're going to make a chain of 1 and go into the very last stitch of the previous row. So into the edge stitch you're going to place 1 double crochet there, just like this. The moment you're done with this, you're going to make a chain of 3, turn your work, and the fact that we have a chain of 3 here, we have a chain of 1 here, you're going to just go in there with 2 more double crochets to make a total of 3 double crochets, and then chain 1, 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space. So we're just going to continue working back and forth, back and forth. All right, so we've come to the end, and I'm going to make a chain of 1 and go into the very edge stitch of the previous row, or the very last stitch, and this is what we have. So you're just going to continue working back and forth, and this side should be elongating. So I'm going to teach you how to get that measurement. So remember the 4 inches that we took off from our very first measurement. So your bust measurement minus 4. So I'm considering a bust measurement of 34 inches minus 4, which is 30, and divide that number by 2. So 30 divided by 2 is 15. So we want to get 15 inches when we stretch this panel almost fully. You can see from the middle of the panel all the way to the side, we want it to be at this point when fully stretched, because when we lace up this top, it's going to literally stretch out like this. So far I am still at 13 inches when I stretch my work, and that means I'm still going for about 2 more rows, because as you can see here, if we stretch our work out around 3 rows or 2 rows, when we stretch our work out fully, we're getting 2 rows for 2 inches. So I'm going to just continue working 2 more rows, and I get back and show you what measurement that I have. Okay guys, I'm done with my extra 2 rows, so I'm going to take my measurement again. I'm aiming for 15 inches. So when I don't stretch it, it's at 12, but when I stretch it almost fully, it gets to 15 inches, as you can see here. You can see this? It gets to 15 inches. So that's exactly where I'll stop. So I did an extension of 5 rows for the size that I want. And after this, you're going to just chain 1 and cut your yarn. So at this point, when you fold your work into half, one side will be longer than the other. So we want to balance both sides. And we're going to just attach our yarn so that we are working in the opposite direction of the previous row. Because now we are going to grow this side as well, just like we did on the opposite side. So place your work like this, and I'm going to attach my yarn into the corner because that's where I'll be working in the opposite direction of the previous row. Chain 3, and that counts as a double crochet plus 1, because we are just trying to mirror exactly what we have on this side. You can see we have a chain of 1 and a double crochet. So that means this side you start with a chain of 4, which counts as a double crochet, chain 1. And you're going to go into the next chain 1 space with 3 double crochets. Chain 1, 3 double crochets into the next. Chain 1 space. And you're going to go all the way across until the end of the row. All right, so when it comes to the last chain 4 space, you're going to just place 3 double crochets in there like that, and that marks the end of row 1. Row 2, you're going to start off with a chain of 4, turn your work, skip over the next 2 chains, and you're going to go into the next chain 1 space. Skip over the next double crochets, 2 double crochets, not 2 chains, sorry. And you're going to make a chain of 1, 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space, chain 1, 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space, and repeat that all the way across. All right, so we are almost coming to the end of the row, and you're going to chain 1, and into the chain 4 space you're going to place 3 double crochets, and this is what you'll have. So repeat this back and forth, chain 4, turn your work, three double crochets into the next chain 1 space, chain 1, 3 double crochets, and I'm going to continue working until I have the same exact number of extension rows that I did on the opposite side, and then I'll be back to show you what to do next. Alright guys, so we are done balancing both sides, and when I fold my work over like this, you can see now the sides are balanced. And make sure you cross-check your measurements once again so that you don't get any complications when it comes to the sizing. So the next thing that you're going to do is to work on the edging of the top, and at this point you're going to chain 1 because we have ended on the downer side of the top. So I want to first do the upper edging of the top. So I'll cut my yarn and then reattach it in this corner here so that I can work across the top like that. All right, so you're going to attach your yarn into the very first row on this side, chain 1, and place single crochet stitches, 2 single crochets in each and every row. 1 and 2, and make sure your stitches are not very tight, that they are distorting the shape of the top. So when it comes to the corner, you're going to only place 1 single crochet there, and then into the stitches you're going to just go into each and every stitch with 1 single crochet, and then 1 single crochet in the chain 1 spaces. So go all the way across, placing 1 single crochet in each and every stitch and 1 single crochet in the chain 1 space, all the way up until we get to the corner. So you can see how the single crochet stitch is already creating a very neat edge across the top. And we are almost getting to the top corner. And when it comes to the chain 2 space at the very top, the tip of the top that we are working on, we are going to place a total of 3 single crochets in that chain 2 space. After that, you're going to go onto the opposite side and just mirror exactly what you were doing on this side. 1 single crochet in each and every stitch and 1 single crochet into the chain 1 space. Alright, so I made it all the way across and I placed my last 2 single crochets into the last chain 4 space, or into the last row of the panel. Remember, we're only working the top part. So after this, you're going to chain 1, turn your work, and you're going to skip the very first stitch. And the chain 1 doesn't count as a stitch. We're just trying to maintain the straight edge of the top. So skip the first stitch, and into the second you're going to place a single crochet, and you're going to go all the way up, placing 1 single crochet in each and every stitch until we get to the tip of the top. Alright, so we're almost coming to the tip, and remember the 3 single crochets that we did here. You're going to go into the first one with 1 single crochet, the middle one with 3 single crochets, and then the third one with 1 single crochet. So if you need to use a stitch marker at this point, always mark the middle stitch of the 3 single crochets, but I won't do that because I can see exactly what's happening. So after this, you're going to go all the way down, placing 1 single crochet in each and every stitch until you have a total of 2 stitches left on your row. Alright, so we're almost coming to the end, and I'm crocheting until I'm left with only 2 stitches on my row. So we're at that point when we have only 2 stitches, this one and this one. And then I'm going to skip over the second last one and go into the very last one with 1 single crochet. So you can go ahead and keep working this, keep working the previous row until you have the thickness of the top edge that you want. But for me, I think this will be enough, or should I add 1 more row, which should be the 3rd row? I think I'm going to add only 1 row. So chain 1, turn your work, skip the first stitch, and into the second you're going to place a single crochet. So we are just repeating the previous row, the same exact thing that you did for your previous row all the way across. I'll meet you guys back when I have the third row finished, and you can see how this thickness is creating a beautiful edge for our top. It's looking more finished. And yeah, let me just go all the way up and then all the way down, and I'll meet you back. Alright guys, so the side where you work your very last row should be the right side of your work, and look how pretty the edging is. It takes a while, I won't lie, but the results are satisfying. So after here, I'm going to make a chain of 1, and I'm going to go around the edges of the bottom of the top and the sides of the top. So just go into each and every row of the single crochet stitches with 1 single crochet. Since there were 3 rows, I've done 1 single crochet in each row. Then into each chain 1 space, 1 single crochet, and into each stitch 1 single crochet on the sides of the top. So for this one, we are not going to make anything dramatic, just cleaning up the edges with only 1 row of single crochets. Alright, so we are at the corner, and into the corner we are going to place a total of 3 single crochets. So into that very last stitch we are going to place 3 single crochets, just so that we can turn to the opposite side. Okay, now we are going to start working at the base of our top, and I think I should make some scallops. I'm not very sure. I feel like the top is very plain, so I will introduce scallops. So you're going to make a chain of, into the very first row, you're going to place 1 single crochet, and then make a chain of 3 and 3 more single crochets, 3 more double crochets into the same space. 3 more double crochets, and then you're going to skip over 1 row, and into the next you're going to place a single crochet, just like that. Chain 3, 3 more double crochets into the same exact row. So we are trying to create a beautiful edging for our top. After your 3 double crochets, you're going to skip over 1 row, and into the next you're going to place 1 single crochet, just like that. Chain 3, 3 more double crochets into the same exact row, skip over 1 row, single crochet into the next row. So this is the edging that we are creating. You're going to go all the way across, creating these lovely scallops, so that we don't have a boring edge for the bottom of our top. Sorry, you have to skip over a row. I hadn't skipped over. So look how beautiful this is. 1, 2, 3. So when we come to the middle section, you can see I'm placing my 3 double crochets into the very last row of this side of the panel. Then there's this side of the panel. So you're just going to go ahead and skip over 1 row and single crochet. Actually, when you come to the middle stitch, just to balance exactly what we have on this side, after your 3 double crochets into this row, you're going to go into the very first row of the opposite side with a single crochet, just like that. And then you're going to make a chain of 3 and place 3 more double crochets into the same exact row. And you can see now we are skipping over the same exact row, the row that started with a gap. So skip over it and single crochet into the next. So it won't show. This is exactly what we have. I just want to balance what's happening on this opposite side onto this side. That's why I did that. Alright, so we are placing a single crochet into the very last row on the bottom edge. This is the bottom edge of the top. So after placing your single crochet there, you're going to go into this same space with a total of 3 single crochets, just like we did on the opposite corner. After that, you're going to go into each and every stitch with 1 single crochet and each chain 1 space with 1 single crochet all the way up. So as I had said earlier on, we're just cleaning the edges on the side and then the bottom, and then into these 3 rows of single crochets, you're going to just place 1 single crochet into each and every row. And the moment you're done with that, you're going to make a chain of 1 and cut your yarn, pull through. So this is what everything looks like at the moment. The bottom of the top has scallops, the top edge has single crochet stitches, and now you're going to grab your yarn and make a normal chain of about, I don't know, about 300 or as long as you want your strap to be. But remember, we are going to divide it into half. So we are going to have a strap that's going this side and a strap that's going this side. So it should really be long enough. So just start off with a slip knot and then just make a normal chain, a very long chain. All right, so I ended up doing a total of 350 chains just because I want my chain to be long, so that you can play around with it if you wish. So you're going to fold this chain into half and we are going to attach it in this space here. So just go into the middle part of the top, pull through. That will create a loop, and then pull the 2 strands through the loop and fasten off, just like that. So at this point we are done attaching 2 strands. Remember the strands I told you, one will be on this side and one will be on the other side. So now you're going to turn your work onto the wrong side. And then you're going to separate the straps like this. Fold over the back side of your top, just like this. And then we're going to start lacing up the back of our top. So what I want to do is skipping one space. So I'm going into the very first space. Remember, I've created an X here. This is what it looks like. Now I'm going to skip 1 space here and then into the next. Or you can go into each and every space, that's really up to you. But for me, I will skip one space and then I lace it up like a shoelace. So I'll attach into the very last space here at the bottom of the top. Just like that. And the next thing that we're going to do is get rid of all these strands that are lying around the top. You can either tie and cut, or you can use a darning needle if you have like only 1 strand at a point. Then there I will use a darning needle. So look for all the loose ends on your top and weave them in properly so that we get a very neat finish. Alright guys, so at this point you can attach tassels to your straps, or you can attach some beads. You can accessorize any way you want, but for me this will be enough because this is at the back of the top. So I'm going to just cut off the excess yarn, and this is basically it. Let me show you how it looks like matched up with our granny stitch shorts. And yeah, that's basically it. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Make sure you give it a thumbs up if you did, and let me know in the comment section if you're trying out all the projects with this particular stitch, because it's a lovely stitch and I would love you guys to give it a try and see how it sells in your shop. So thanks for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye. Don't forget to check out the written pattern, and thanks for all the love and support. Bye.